All right, folks. Okay, folks. I just started the new episode, part two. Andrew, yes, continue what you were
Hunter.
saying. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all
You look
good.
like an Andrew. There we go. You
Oh,
look
that's
like an
nice.
Andrew.
Yeah.
That's my excuse. I'm so
Um,
sorry.
yeah, so just to keep the
It's
conversation
terrible.
going, one of the things, uh, just piggybacking on the last thing you said, I think, a lot of, speaking from, I work professionally as a TV writer, writer's assistant, script coordinator. One of the things you find a lot in the stories that we consume and the media that we consume is this idea of the hero narrative, the idea of the individual coming in and saving the day. I think we see that in all sorts of stories, movie, TV shows, books. This idea that the hero rides into town, saves the day all on their own, and that narrative has seeped into every facet of life, and we internalize that, and then when we don't live up to that ourselves, it can be very difficult to reconcile that, like, oh no, that's just, we need other people to help us through these hard times.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and like it's okay. It's life saving. It's like with physical help. There's like the stigma on that. Like I don't want to say there's no stigma on it, but like a lot of times if if someone has cancer, you know what I mean? You're like, go to the hospital, I'm there with you, I'm praying for you, I'm rooting for you, you know what I mean? And guess what? It takes a whole team, to, you know, help this person, recover in their health. Um, so it's like literally will die if you were just doing it on your own. Like literally, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, so what I'm
Yeah.
doing is I'm trying to help those of us who are just now hearing this and hearing your perspective and this perspective, and Hunter. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna
No,
get right.
it's all good.
Um, Relate this to something that's not stigmatized. So, like, if your family member has cancer, you're gonna want them to go to the hospital and get help. And it's not just one doctor that's doing every single thing. There's nurses that are checking in. You know, it's taken a whole team to save a life.
Yeah.
Um, we see that with like tragedies, like I don't like mentioning what happened September 2001, but it took a multitude of people to help. Sorry, there's a fly in front of me. It took multiple people, multiple firefighters, police to dig people out of the rubble, to help bring people down from the buildings. It's a lot. So what I'm saying is, folks, like it's a lot that goes into it. It's not done by itself. It's not. And why should addiction and mental health be done by itself?
Yeah, it
Why,
can't
why
be. I
should
mean,
that?
it's a support system is essential,
Yeah,
essential part of recovery.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Hunter.
Yes.
Oh, I'm proud of me. I do suck at names just in general, but I'm so sorry for saying Andrew. I'm so sorry. Um,
Yeah.
I know you mentioned earlier, and this is what made I had a question about it. Um, how your addictions, specifically your porn addiction, um, has tainted your dating or has affected your dating life in your 20s.
Yeah.
What does that look like, if you don't mind sharing?
Not at all. I think a lot of a big way young people date now is online, and there is a large contingent of these dating apps and sites that use sort of this swipe method. Think Tinder or Bumble or anything where you swipe left or right to find a partner. And one of the one of the things I discovered, pretty early on, using these platforms was that, similar to like a pornography addiction, the swiping can itself become an addiction, where you
Yeah.
sit and swipe, for hours, trying to get find that next date, find that next person to talk to, find that next high, really.
Yeah.
And what's too bad about that? I mean, it really takes sort of the humanity out of the people that you're chatting with. It takes the humanity out of the experience itself. And so I I still do use these apps, but I try to really keep a handle on meeting people for the right reasons, and being very forthright and honest in my bios and things like that, to meet good people and to get off the apps as quickly as possible, to meet in person, have those genuine connections, go on dates, be a person of the world, meet new people, things like that. Because that's what I found is healthiest for me. But there was oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah. When you said that you made mistakes in your past relationships because of the porn and the desensitization, desensitization. I guess, is that a word, desensitization?
I would think that sounds like a word.
Well, right? Try saying that 10 times really fast.
Desensitization. Yeah.
Yeah, so because of the porn addiction, like how did that come up in like your relationships? Like how did it make you
well,
desensitized?
it kind of fed this mental habit of sort of self-aggrandizing and overindulgence, right? And when you are in a relationship with somebody and you've had that discussion or discussions about keeping it monogamous or keeping it all of that, and meanwhile the apps are right at your fingertips, you can go out and meet new people. It led to me being dishonest with people, having affairs outside of relationships that I had established were monogamous, and I always regret that part of it. I've never I made some really bad choices and hurt some people with those choices, which is a really hard thing to come to terms with, and to know that you're flawed. Yeah. I mean, I was really sick and in a lot of pain myself, and that's not to excuse any of the behavior that I did. I mean, I think the one lesson that came out of it that I always come back to is just like, always be honest. Just always be honest. If you are honest with a partner about what you want and what you're looking for, if you don't want to be in a relationship with just one person, just be honest about it, and that's it. It's no one, there's a lot less pain when everybody's on it.
And that's actually something really cool that I did want to mention about something that you just said. And that's kind of why I asked, did it hurt you as well? Because when you said, oh, like you don't want to make an excuse, I don't see it as an excuse. I just see it, as giving an understanding towards your side as well. Because it's evident you're not denying that you didn't hurt people. You know what I mean? However, you're just as important as well. And so it's definitely beneficial to get understanding on your side as well. And understanding doesn't mean, oh, that means you're right or that means you're wrong. No, understanding is just seeing where this answer came from. Rather than just seeing the answer and just thinking it's so cookie cutter. So, Hunter, that is really huge of you to be able to reflect on your past and to learn from it. You know what I mean? Not saying that you're perfect or things are going to go perfect. Things are upward spirals. It's still a learning process. But
Just one more thing I have to
Yeah, go
add
for
to
it.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of times in relationships, people are offered the advice. You have to love yourself before you can love anybody else, and it sounds cliche. It sounds like a line, but I have really found that to be true. I think for a lot of the relationships in my 20s that I was in, I did this very toxic thing, which was that I didn't love myself. And so the moment I felt someone else loving me, it made me distrust that person, because how could they love me when I don't love me? And then that led to a slow breakup, a fast breakup, any one of these things where, all of this stuff isn't being said. It's sort of all under the surface bubbling up. And whether it erupts in this massive explosion or just dies a slow death, neither one are good, because you don't love yourself. And I was in relationships where people would tell me they loved me, and I then, the toxic part of that was like, oh, but I don't love me. So how could this person love me when I don't? That makes me weary of them and their choices. It's this bizarre sort of thing in the psyche that I have had to learn, and I'm still learning to outgrow. And it all starts and comes back to loving who you are, knowing you're flawed, and leading with that.
That's beautiful. Would you say all of these things that we have discussed, these, journeys, these disguised opportunities, hint, disguised opportunities, because, a lot of times, the shit moments, we like to shit on them. Hell yeah. However, would you say though that, going through that has helped you in a way find yourself?
Yeah, I think it has. I think too, and I'm borrowing this from an author that I really like named Mark Manson, but this idea of finding yourself, he offers in one of his books that I like, and I kind of subscribe to this as well. Like, people try to find themselves. I think you should never find yourself. You should always be searching for new, better versions of yourself. And people only compare yourself to previous versions of yourself. I know people hear that a lot too, and that's so true. Just be better than the person you were yesterday and the day before. And but yeah, sort of, I really like this idea of sort of never finding yourself, and always be searching for that better version.
Yes. I call it that was the point that I was gonna make. You nailed it. I call it learning yourself, because it's like,
Yeah,
always.
that's a great way to say it.
Yeah, because I mean it's so true. Because I'm like finding myself. What does that really mean? What does that really entail? Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds like a pretty statement. Yeah, it sounds good on paper, but what does that like really mean if we get down to the nitty gritty? Like,
Yeah.
learning yourself. That's, at least for me, that was something easier to grasp, because I'm like, okay, because like growing, learning, making these failures, learning from it. Failures are a lot of times a precursor to success. I dare to say.
Well, and that language really matters, I think, because what I hear you saying, if when you think of finding yourself, that's a finite goal, because something can be found, and that's it. But learning is sort of this everlasting pursuit, right? You can always learn new things. So if you are learning yourself, that is seemingly never ending. And I really like that part of it.
That's See, I like how you said that. See, that's just yes, yes.
Yeah,
I was struggling
thanks.
with the words, and you just yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that also circles back to, people pick these finite goals for their lives. I want to I want to someday own this house or buy this car or marry this person, and those are finite goals. Whereas when you choose more everlasting goals, like live a life of honest expression, that's a goal that you can always achieve and never reach the end of. And I think those pursuits are much more fruitful, at least for me,
Yeah.
as I go into my 30s and beyond.
Even though you look 25. Um, Hunter, okay, ooh, that's actually something really interesting when you said, yeah, these finite things, let's try to strive for the everlasting. Two things. One of my finite goals, I knew it was going to be impossible, but it was nice to think about is one day I'm going to marry Nick Jonas. That clearly
Hmm.
is not and did not happen. But
Is
going
he
on,
is he the one that married Sophie Turner? Is that, or was that Joe? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I just know that they had a
Okay.
beautiful wedding, and I was like, whatever. I was like, whatever. I'm happy for you, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
My
it's
dream my dream date was Emma Watson growing up.
Oh, okay, Emma
So yeah,
Watson. Gotcha, gotcha.
she was my dream spouse. But I mean, when you're a kid and you have a crush on a celebrity, I think there's healthy ways to do that.
Does for okay, so when you said infinite and everlasting, when I think of everlasting, I'm thinking something like maybe like a higher power or something
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
for a lot of people that is very effective. Me personally, I'm an atheist. I don't I'm not religious. I don't necessarily believe in a higher power, but that I always whatever helps you, I encourage people to pursue. So.
Yeah. For those of us who are atheists, what does I think you might have mentioned it, but what does everlasting mean to you, and like what in your life has
I
ever
just yeah. So again, this is sort of borrowed from this Mark Manson book that I just read, but it sort of, when you choose an everlasting goal, let's say the goal is live a life of honest expression. That's something I can achieve every day without ever reaching an end. If I choose a finite goal, like someday I want to buy this fancy car, once you get the thing, if it's tangible or not. I mean, once you get the thing, it leaves you with this feeling of emptiness, because then you just need to start pursue the next thing. You're constantly moving the goalpost down and down and down. So when I say something like, yeah, choose everlasting goals, it's like I can wake up every day and say, my goal today is to live a life of honest expression. And if I do that, I've achieved my goal, and I do the same thing tomorrow, and that will never end. I mean, all life ends, but that will never end as long as I'm alive.
know what you mean? That makes sense because at first I was a little confused.
Yeah. I totally get it.
So that that's huge. I know somebody needed to hear that, or someone needed that reminder. And I like also how you kind of like diversified what everlasting means, given like whatever works for this person or this person. Whatever's everlasting to them. Um, Dang, I never really thought about that. Like, the finite and then the everlasting. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, it's a cool distinction, and that's not to
Yeah,
say that finite goals are a bad thing to have. Like you
right.
know, I think that helps a lot of people. For me, um, I very much prefer sort of the latter, sort of these everlasting goals, because that's something that can always be achieved regardless of circumstance, or where I am, financial circumstances, who I'm with, all of that. I can always count on living an honest life. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. And Hunter, thank you so much for I caught myself, Hunter. Sorry, there's this gnat also around me, so if you see me looking away, it's this
Oh, you're fine, man. No worries at all. If you need to
got in here.
Yeah.
It's been bugging me for 3 days. I'm like, die already. It's been 3 days.
Yeah.
There's no food or water in this room. Go to the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah, gosh, leave me alone. Yeah, Hunter, I honestly, this has been so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Trenton. No, thank you. Of course. Thanks for having me. This has been a real honor and a treat to do this. I mentioned this to you earlier, I think off the pod, but that I've never done anything like this before. So it's a really cool, unique thing, and I hope that if at least one person hears this and is inspired to make a change or do something, then that's all that matters. So hopefully someone out there is listening and will take to heart some of the ideas we put forward and some of the things we've said.
Yes, that is. Oh God, I'm so sorry, Hunter. I'm not.
You're good.
I'm listening. I swear I'm listening, but it's like the gnat keeps coming to me. Like, why come to something that's shooing you away? Leave me alone. You want to die? I hope so. Yeah. And that's what, like I said, like that's what this is, all about. Utilizing the storm to tell a story, to help, save or just encourage or uplift someone else. Someone out there is just, they're gonna hold on a little bit longer because of what you have shared. And both of these episodes, you're gonna be on 2 episodes, Hunter. How cool.
How cool.
Yeah. So wow. Thank you for your time. We all appreciate you. This is now your podcast as well. This is your episode, but this is also now your podcast. You're a part of this. You're literally a part of this healing journey, and this podcast is also symbolic of, hey, we're here. We're just 2 humans having a conversation, being vulnerable, this professionalism or this perfectionism, it's out the window. And then also this podcast is symbolic for someone just being present with you, not doing it alone. Because I know there are, some folks out there, there is alone physically, and whether they have someone to talk to or not, it's scared to open up, because who wants to be judged?
It's very scary. Vulnerability is one of the scariest things, but it's also one of the most rewarding. So exactly. I applaud your, the idea of centering a podcast around the idea of vulnerability, just to help destigmatize it is really, really cool thing. So
honesty
props to you.
Equals healing.
Yeah.
And last thing, this is something I recently learned, that not being alone, it can look like different things. It could look like, doing research and finding out, wow, what I'm experiencing, a lot of people have or are experiencing or have overcame this. Or, it could be simple as listening to a podcast, or, because at least for me, when I was alone, you know what I mean? And there was once upon a time where I was alone, like physically was alone, in my struggle. I had this outlook of not being alone is only this one thing. Now, though having someone there physically present, that's definitely what I wanted, that's definitely what I wanted. Would feel a lot better, However, there's also other things that, while we wait for this, you know, person or people or community, that will help us through this, um, there are other little small things that we can do to be a part of. And, um, excuse me, that we will do to be a part of. I'm just going to go ahead and speak the victory over all of us. All of us who think our name is Victum, but it's actually Victor. Folks, if you're listening, look, it's not over until it's literally over, until it's like the absolute end. You're still on this earth. You just getting out of bed today is symbolic of just believing in yourself, because you didn't have to wake up today. You didn't have to step foot out of the bed, despite of what all good or bad this world is bringing you right now in your current season of life. You're here for a reason, and you're not listening to this podcast for no reason. This is your sign, folks. This is your sign. There is hope coming. You got this, and you don't have to do it alone. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not get it all together. It's okay to be quote unquote failing right now. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. So utilize this, folks. This is literally your sign. You could have been listening to anything else, but for some reason you stuck with this episode and continued listening to the end. That's not for no reason, folks. I'm proud of y'all for still being alive. I'm proud of y'all for still being born on this earth. And I'm proud of y'all for... Oh gosh, there I go getting emotional. I'm about to start crying. This is vulnerability time. Tears are welcome, folks. I gotta remind myself that sometimes. I wish I said this. I wish someone said this to me when I was going through my crap. But, folks, I'm saying it to you and I mean it with all my heart. Don't give up. Mm-hmm. Don't give up. Just hold on just a little bit longer.
Yeah. And it's always okay to ask for help.
Always. Well, with that being said, folks, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I will see y'all.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you enjoy the episodes, plural.
Yes, right. And Andrew's Hunter's Instagram. Oh my god, this is terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Because y'all also look alike. You and
okay.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Well,
he must be very handsome.
Exactly. Yes. Hunter's Instagram information and anything else Hunter would like to promote will be in the episode description below. Hunter, just go ahead and we'll talk after this.
Okay, great. Yeah. My personal Instagram is Reese's Peanut Hunter Cups. My photography Instagram is Hunter Obscura, and then I run a comedy satire headline page called Nocturnal Admissions.
It will be in the episode description below, folks, because I know I suck at spelling, and thank God for Siri.
That's right.
So I was like, I can't spell to save anyone's life. If I tried to spell to save lives, everyone would be dead. So we're just, yeah. But okay, folks, see y'all next episode. And thanks once again to our special guest, Hunter.
Take care.